Hey, welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. It is I, DJ Impact, and I got Simon Street with you tonight. And you see, we're missing two guys tonight. For y'all who don't know, we record our shows on Sunday, and tonight happens to be the night of the Super Bowl. So you have all types of events going on and taking place, and the fellas are using their PTO, Simon Street, to take advantage of it.
Well, they better, because I ain't gonna be here next week. So,
oh boy. Well, there you go. Yeah, welcome everyone who's watching us. We are live. Make sure to throw any of your comments into YouTube Live, Facebook Live, or Twitch, and we'll try to get it in as we see fit. And yes, the Super Bowl was tonight. And just to quickly get out of the way, I guess congrats to the Chiefs. I will say, petty call at the end. I mean, was that really a hold?
Seriously? That was a hold. He was holding the back of his shirt, man.
No, it was a light grab. That's all it was.
But hold on.
It wasn't to a point where it was like, wow, he was not able to make a play because of that.
So what did you just call that?
What do you mean? What a light grab?
Okay, a grab is a grab. It don't matter if it's light or heavy, bro. It was a grab. A grab is pass interference, man.
It's a pussy call. Period.
Okay? Yeah, I mean, come on.
I'm just saying, that easily could have been, if they were going to more likely was going to win anyway. You just don't hand it to them like that. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
But I will say this though. All right, I can't remember in my recent memory. I haven't seen two teams that was almost immediately stacked up even going into the Super Bowl. And I think everybody all expected this to be a blowout. But I got to say, a lot of people like to talk about he the GOAT this, he the GOAT that. You know what really is a GOAT? A GOAT is a person that it don't matter if they get hurt. It don't matter if Thanos snaps his damn fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet. They still going to come through. And Mahomes is the truest of all GOATs. I can't say that in other sports because if you look at Brady being the GOAT of this modern era, only Mahomes is the only quarterback I can say definitively that comes close. Just like basketball, and I can go into it. The GOAT of the NBA is Michael Jordan. LeBron James is the closest thing we'll kind of get to maybe even having a conversation. But that's a whole nother conversation because
Yeah. Well, nevertheless, I mean, it was a good game. I would have loved to see, Jalen Hurts win it, get a ring. I think he deserves MVP. I mean, he was out there putting in that work. He wasn't sitting down almost an entire quarter, but or 2 quarters. Anyways, we're not a sports show. We need to talk a little bit about some wrestling that happened this past week, and we're going to do our show a little bit different. Most of the time we have our segments, being that it's just us two. We'll keep this real light. As we know, the biggest thing coming up is the Elimination Chamber. So everything is moving towards that. And of course, the biggest of them all is about WrestleMania that's coming up as well. So with Raw, Simon Street, the only thing for me out of everything that really stood out to me was Cody and Paul Heyman's promo segment. That was, again, a masterpiece. If anybody want to know how do you grab the attention of fans in this, I'll call it sport that we enjoy watching, this is how you do it. You have Cody really, getting personal, letting us know that at some point in his childhood, they were poor. They had nothing in their account. And Paul Heyman came and in many ways seemed to kind of rescue them by giving Dusty a chance. And just watching Paul's face, I mean, he seems like, again, this could be acting. I mean, as always acting, but to the point where it almost seemed like it was some sincere emotion that was coming from that entire segment, right? And then reverse it, and Paul Heyman is giving credit to yes, what happened, what Dusty, but what Cody has done since he's been back. And of course, Cody is really getting emotional as well. But this is when they grab you, right? This is when Paul hits you with that stinger and pretty much tells Cody, look, you were your father's favorite son. But Roman is the son he always wanted. Boy, when he said that, I tell you, I was like, sign me up. I know I've been holding back on getting these tickets because I know I'm going to get hit up the head just because I didn't get them on time. I'm about to go through an agency. But you know what? Just go ahead and hit me on the head, because when you watch a promo like that, I'm already ready to get to this main event. I don't know, man. Out of everything on that show, that's really what stood out to me was that promo. What was your take on that? If you saw that part, and maybe you even had a bigger highlight on Raw that that stood out for you.
Well, I'll touch a little bit on that one, just a little bit. But you did a fine job, so it's not much I can't add, but I will add this.
Sure.
I'll add that reports say that Paul Heyman was not scheduled to be on Raw. And then it was a last minute. Now, again, I don't have anything to substantiate those claims, but a lot of the sources into interwebs said that. And I find it interesting because, the amount of trust that they have, obviously, with Cody Rhodes and obviously Paul Heyman, sheer, large. And they did not disappoint us. And obviously, they did disappoint, creative. Let's put it that way. Sure. So with that, it's great because at the end of the day, you got to realize you needed something to kind of capture, for all intents and purposes, something to look forward to past Elimination Chamber. Because as we know, it's going to be Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, right? Yeah. So you needed some kind of way, for Cody to say, hey, I'm here. And right there, he said, oh, you didn't have to go and make it personal. So, it's going to be a whole nother level, and it's great because, now you look at it as, okay, almost indefinitely. And it sucks a little bit because I looked at it as, okay, you're going to say that, but what if Sammy pulls off a miracle, right? In the elimination. But besides that, another thing that I liked really when we talking about promos and highlights in, WWE is, man, Edge and Beth Phoenix. First and foremost, Beth Phoenix looks so goddamn good. Edge, you are one lucky ass man. That woman is gorgeous. Yeah, I'm just being honest with you. And she'll tear your ass up in the ring, which makes it even better. Right. The cool thing is that promo he hit was for our age, man. He said that Finn Balor looked like a dollar store Jamiroquai. He told everybody, go look it up. Virtual Insanity. He was talking about how Dom basically, dropping his drawers in the penitentiary. He was eating them up, man, on the mic. So it's always good to see him have a good time. Right. Other highlights that I really liked in Raw, since we're talking about Raw, is, really, man, that, whole thing that went down, like, I don't think people are talking about it. And that is, pull it up right here on my notes because I had to get with Angelo Dawkins and Damian Priest. Wow. I really thought that was a really good match. And a lot of people, again, I've been looking at Angelo Dawkins. He's been having some good highlights the last couple of weeks on Raw. Absolutely. And, so, I mean, again, but Damian Priest and him work so well together. I would have paid to see that. You know who I won't pay to see? I won't pay to see your boy, Happy Corbin. I ain't going to pay to see him because I was only watching him recently because of JBL. But now JBL says, screw that shit. I ain't going to watch it. So, I know I said more than just what I said, but those are the highlights that I have from this for Monday Night Raw.
Okay. Let me move over then quickly to NXT. So the only thing I will speak on that is another segment that I want to talk about, and this was between Wesley and JD McDonough. I've been talking about that JD is still sort of new to me in terms of I don't know his previous career. I learned about him as he started his career with NXT. They have built him up to be this guy that have all types of moves that can hurt you, that can cause you to be motionless. He can do things. I don't know, with 2 fingers, just touch your shoulders and it just goes limp. I mean, you know, all types of things. And then of course he talks like he's a badass, despite the fact that, you know, I mean, he's not a big guy, he's not a tall guy, but he comes off as a person that seems like he's very serious in what it is he's talking about. So they built JD McDonough right, and he had this impromptu session with Wesley, which created a match, and I'm all about Wesley right now. I'm a huge fan. I like the idea of him being the North American champion, but I am questioning: are they building? And I could be wrong on this, but I'm wondering if they you know, are they building JD McDonough correctly? And my only thing about that is, and maybe I will have to double check. I just feel like I've seen him take more L's, and maybe, like I say, I'm wrong because sometimes I miss some of NXT, but it seems like sometimes I see him take a little bit more L's than I see him take W's. And if that is truly the case, I don't know why. Now, in case of what Wesley should have took the L, but in terms of his overall matches that he have on a weekly basis, there should definitely be a little bit more W's in there. And I don't know. Do you find yourself seeing that he is winning more, and maybe I'm just not catching it, or are you seeing that he is taking a bunch of losses when he fights?
Well, he's definitely taking a bunch of losses. He lost this past NXT to Carmelo Hayes. You
right.
know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, but, you know, I don't know. My take on some of those is I look at, okay, let's just look at it maybe in a different perspective.
Like, right? I'm looking right. I'm just happy to pull up on some matches here.
Yeah.
He lost to Carmelo.
Yes.
Now
it was a great match.
He had a match back in January. He did beat Andre Chase in that. But then in December, he lost to Julius Creed. And then he beat the following week Brutus Creed. But this is probably where I got caught up on. From November through December, he lost to Grayson, Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews was in a 4-way. JD was part of Julius Creed, Apollo Crews, 1-on-1, Cedric Alexander. So he took a lot of losses, and that's probably when I was catching some of it. So I don't know. I'm just wondering if they're building him.
Well,
correct. That's all.
And that's what I was going to say. Let's look at this in another perspective, right? So when you think of JD McDonough, like this dude right here is dangerous. And he's always, at least in my eyes, in my perspective, is that he is your X factor. Almost every one of those matches you saw, those people really didn't just easily wipe over him like a mop to a floor. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They really went through some shit. And that's how they built him. They built him right now. Yeah. You are a threat in a match, right? I'm going to make you think about me. You see what I'm saying? You're not just going to wipe over me, right? However, you got to be the elite. So at the end of the day, he's somebody that for right now, for all intents and purposes, is helping on the reverse end of helping other talent, right? Talent that they trying to build got to go through him. Yeah. I mean, because I really honestly look at it in the sense of, okay, you know, this past week with Hayes and McDonough, like, man, that was a good match. It was really good, and it helped to really continue to showcase Hayes. A lot of people say Hayes don't need that match. Well, Hayes kind of does, because we all know Hayes' trajectory is to go to the main roster eventually, right? Okay, and competition is a lot way stiffer than it was 2 years ago when we was making fun talking about, you know, NXT had a better roster, so if they coming up, they gracing, the upper roster. But in this situation, a lot of these NXT cats that's coming up here right now, that's in the conversation to come to the main roster, man, the climate up there is thick. So why would you not go through McDonough?
True that. Did you have any highlights, right quick, of any NXT you want to throw out there?
Well, I actually did have a couple of highlights that I thought were really, really good. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. one of the best matches that I saw was Pretty Deadly versus Chase U. Man, Chase U is building up some momentum, bro. And again, I'm only saying it from my perspective because I didn't really look at them in that light 6 months ago. Do you see what I'm saying? Was they entertaining? Oh, 100%. Some of their best, stuff that they were doing, vignettes and promos and stuff like that, and stuff they were doing with the Chase U University was cool. But man, you really are starting to see, in these last with Vengeance Day, obviously, and the match that they had with for the tag teams. But even before that, man, they're a very formidable tag team, and them going up against Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly is elite, as far as my concern, elite in a tag team in NXT. So Chase U is here, and you better get your caps and gowns together because this team is white hot, and they eventually, or you're going to be seeing them with some tag team belts across their waist real soon. Another big thing, and it's the thing that a lot of people was talking about. Ding Dong, hello. Wow, man. Why you had to do my girl Gigi Dolan like that? First and foremost, I ain't no disrespect to the whole thing. I thought it was cool, right? But man, I ain't know Juicy or JC Jane was like that though. Out of all of Toxic Attraction, I never really looked at JC Jane like that. She was really on some really deep hill shit. So shout out to her for digging deep on some vindictive shit. And man, Gigi Dolan, did you see she got all of that boot. All of that boot, all of that door. Ding dong, but that door didn't really help her at all. I think she hit the door now too.
Right, exactly. All right, cool, man. That's all I had for NXT. Anything's really stood out to you from SmackDown? I know we got a chance to see. The biggest thing with that was Jay was going to show up for his match against Braun and Ricochet, and of course he eventually did show up, but then Paul Heyman got the working in the back, and CN was kind of going on and got with the tribal chief and end up telling Jimmy, hey, you and Jay are going to be staying home for their Elimination Chamber match. Wow. So that's pretty much just going to make it, as of right now, just Sammy and Roman. And before that, and then before Paul made that announcement, it looked like Sammy was maybe hoping that Jay maybe could play a part in whatever he was going to do. So this is really interesting. This is definitely, I don't know. I don't know. I'm loving it. I'm loving what I'm seeing, but this is going to be interesting how they're going to play this out for Elimination Chamber. That whole thing on SmackDown was just seeing how that was going to come about. Was Jay going to show? Once he showed, what was going to happen? And now we got something to look out for coming next week.
Well, you know what? I will tell you with regards to that. Again, when you think that storytelling can't go no deeper in WWE in regards to the bloodline, Sami Zayn, you see more and more layers and just creative ways of telling a story. First and foremost, you started off SmackDown with the wise man. Again, as if he is Rumpelstiltskin, sweaving gold. I mean, come on, man. He sets the playing field each and every time to make sure he lets it know, prefacing his conversation that he had with Cody, but mostly talking about Sami Zayn, giving him credits and dues. And I like how he does this. This is his cadence that he does, right? He builds up and gives credit to the people to only let you know who the mountain is, and that is the tribal chief. Do you see what I'm saying? And so he's done that, and he's labeled him as dangerous. He's labeled Sami Zayn as that. But you're right. When it come down to Jay finally coming down, I like how they left that hanging like that, because at the end of the day, blood is thicker than water, and ain't no bond bigger than a brother. I am my brother's keeper. And when you live that mantra like the Usos do on everything, and that's why Jay said, man, I got you day one, 100%, right? Yeah. Just like Paul Heyman said it, sharing the wound. So I'm saying at the end of the day, it's cool, the interaction between Jay and Sammy. Because at the end of here's something I can only take piece from my life. I know some of the people that I ain't really see eye with, but I respect them because we got into a conflict, and at the end of it all, I wasn't going to give up ground. You wasn't going to give up ground. You put your heart into the conflict, I put my heart into the conflict. And that is basically what this story is telling. Two men that recognize each other. So when Sammy says, I recognize you, I acknowledge you, it wasn't just a play on words because the tribal chief demands everybody acknowledge him. It's because I see you as a man. I see you as my equal. I see you as my brother. And at the end of the day, man, it's going to be great because come Elimination Chamber, you better believe Tribal Chief might have gave the orders. But I have a true feeling that a real man is going to step up to the plate and do the right thing. Because you know Solo going to bust through there. And at the end of the day, I'm my brother's keeper, and you my younger brother. He might be the tribal chief, but we come from the same family. So I don't know. That's what I want to say as far as like regards to that. Some other highlights that I really liked with SmackDown was shout out to what a great opportunity that your boy's about to have when he get his chest lit up by Gunther. What's that young boy's name? He at the end of the night, what's his name? Oh man, I can't think of it. Oh, that's right. Madcap. He's gonna get beat. But you never know. He's somebody else that WWE's putting a lot of stock into, and he has a beautiful Emma right by his side. So you never know. But I don't think he's gonna take the belt off of the ring general. It ain't finna happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But at least he's a big guy, So now we could kind of have someone a little bit more matched. I mean, although that Ricochet match was really awesome, when you see the whole David versus Goliath type setup, you're going, yeah. I mean, I get it, but Gunther is gonna come out notorious in the end. With Madcap, yes, more likely he still will come out notorious, but it's not going to look like that when they're face to face. It would look like Madcap's got a chance, So
that's gonna be tough though. I mean, one thing we ain't talking about though, which was interesting, we talking about SmackDown, right? And this is something I'm surprised you didn't bring up, man. With all the love you got for Shayna, look like Ronda and Shayna, they're gonna go hunting for some belts. I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen down the road. More and more every time I see them two together. Let's just put it out here. To not do it makes no sense to me. For all the times, and I'm not taking away from Damage Control, because Damage Control, for all intents and purposes, just like other people have held the titles, is actually a legit tag team, right? Okay?
Right.
Both of them were tag team contenders in NXT. They came together, so it makes sense organically. But these two, these badass bitches, yes, I said bitches because they are the baddest of bitches. They'll whoop your ass, my ass, everybody else's ass. I'd love to see them be a tag team, grab them tag team belts, and keep them. And dare somebody to come over here and say, I'm going to take your arm off. So I know you've talked about what's your take on them? Do you see more and more each SmackDown, how that's going to come into fruition?
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind having them as a tag team. They would definitely be dominant. I don't know who would ever take the belts off for them if they do. I mean, it once again have to be some dumbed down match that we'll have to force to believe is more talented than them. My ultimate and real matchmaking is the idea of seeing them go against each other, and I'm sure that will eventually happen. But I want the old Shayna back, and not just the old Shayna. I actually want her with the title. I want her to be NXT, champion Shayna, where locker rooms were afraid of her type deal. Now I know we're probably not gonna really get that, being that most of these women are now like they all play the persona of I'm a tough chick, so I'm not gonna be scared of nobody. But ultimately, I think I like Shayna in that role. So hopefully we see that down the road. And like I say, I said it once to add what's the old girl, man, who's been that's been beefing with Charlotte?
Oh, you talking about yeah. Hold on. It's gonna be on the tip of your tongue. You talking about Rhea Ripley? Talking about Rhea Ripley?
Yeah, Rhea. Well, Rhea, yeah. But before Rhea though.
Before Rhea was what you call Sonya Deville?
Yeah, Sonya. I couldn't think of it.
Sonya? Yeah. They just got to build Sonya right.
I think to have the ultimate Sonya, Shayna, and Ronda style match. You're talking, you're putting wrestling and MMA style together. I think would just be phenomenal. So, but
Let
they
me ask
got
you
to,
this question. I'm sorry. Let me
yeah,
ask you
man,
this question before we move on to the next one, right?
yeah.
Getting back to Ronda and Shayna. Now, I know you watched NXT back in the day, and I'm seeing a lot of relevancy of what was happening in NXT with a lot of people who are now on the main roster, right?
Mhm.
Raquel Gonzalez, right? You're having that with Damage Control, right? They're giving credence, right? So
Mhm.
you remember who Shayna Baszler was bullying the shit out of in NXT? You remember that
Dakota,
shit? Dakota Kai. She
yeah,
holding the belt right now. That's why. That's for me. Maybe it's just me with my popcorn. I really want this. You know how we are. We get to be
sure,
smart bookers and shit. But I'm saying, wouldn't that be live? Because you could take so much material from that, right? And
yeah,
really have it. Because at the end of the day, Damage Control right now are holding the belts by hook or crook or whatever. But they really got, the juice. But I would
yeah.
love to see them build Ronda and Shayna strong. Now, you said something about Sonya. And here's the thing I want to ask you about this. Do you see her more in a pedigree of a tag team, maybe getting joined with somebody else, in forming like an alliance? Or do you see her as a possibility for a single contendership, really kind of keep going for this gold, even though she working out backroom deals or whatever the hell she's doing?
All right, let me answer this one, and then I'll jump over to Impact Wrestling because our time is beginning to get real short.
Okay, you're right. We haven't even talked about AEW at all.
I know, and I'm gonna leave that for you because I don't watch it.
Okay. I did watch a little bit of it today, this weekend. It was fire.
Okay. Um, so to answer your question, the reality is I would like to see her on a solo run. But the reality of it is, I mean, I mean, Charlotte's going to be holding that belt for a while, and I feel when she does give it up, somehow it's going to end up back with Ronda, maybe Shayna, but I don't see Sonya ever having that opportunity to actually, be up to win it. So she might in that she might be better being in a tag team, but
Okay.
I would like to personally see her solo doing that. All right, let me quickly. I just want to mention one thing about Impact, and this is really talking more about their show they have coming up in Vegas. No Surrender, right?
Mm-hmm.
And be here in 2 weeks. I think it's the weekend of the 24th, 25th, 26th. Let me just make sure. Yep, that's correct. So anyway, the big match is going to be Rich Swann and Josh Alexander, and I just wanted to talk about a thought I have, just a quick theory on that one. They ran a couple of promos, and they still got another. They have still another week that they can run promos, but they ran a promo. I was confused why they're running two faces in this particular match, and they ran this video of Rich showing how he's pretty much held the company up during the time of the pandemic. And, you know, he never got a chance to get his real shine because also of the pandemic. So there was no audience, there was no fanfare, there wasn't anything. But, you know, he still got a chance to represent the brand. And Josh is always a good guy. He's willing to uh, see that, yeah, he's earned his way and he thinks he deserves it. But I think Rich is going. I think the trick is I'm predicting is Rich is going to go heel after losing to Josh. I don't know. I what benefit that would do, I'm not sure for that, but I don't see I don't see handshaking at the very end. I think Rich is going to be upset that he was not able to get this job done where he feels that he should have. And then kind of watching the way they were doing the promo, they're building it up as he's building it up as he deserves to be champion, and and that will happen during this match. Because of that attitude, I think he might end up turning. They got to do something. It can't be just a friendly match and they shake hands at the end. I think Rich end up turning. It's not going to mean anything, but maybe at least they can create some different storylines with him with that. So I just want to throw that out there. If I'm right, I'll know. I'll be at the show, right? Just to see it and be like, bam, I called it. But that's my only thing about Impact. They ran some good promo videos, and I think we'll see a turning of Rich. Now, I know for some people, they'd be like, oh, I don't care. Who is that? But for us Impact fans out there, the few of us who like watching it, I think they would take into that. So we'll see. AEW, though, Simon Street, anything good?
Well, I got a chance to actually watch some AEW, and it's funny too because I spaced it that Sensei Steve wasn't gonna be here, so I was gonna be like, "Yo, bro, I saw your show, man, and the shit was fire." Every time I decide to watch it, it's always at its top quality, at least in my opinion. And so I watched a lot of the shows, a couple of highlights because I know we're running low on time, but Takashita versus MJF was good. It was a good match, man. And like I said, I'm gonna be upfront for everybody. I don't watch AEW all the time, but when I do watch it, watch it from front to cover, and it was really, really good. MJF, Takashita, really good. I haven't seen a lot of like matches with Takashita, but man, this dude can go. And for him to be, to me, for seeing him really for the first time, honestly, top competitor. And MJF looked really good too. And boy, he's starting to look extra cut, extra prime time. So that's one thing. The next thing that I said was a really good match that I really, really liked a lot was the Daniel Bryanson and Roosh. That was a good match. Of course, Daniel Bryanson looked like somebody just beat the shit out of him, but that's just how he is, man. But he defeated Roosh. And that was a good match, man, to where I was just watching. And this usually when Sensei Steve would come in and tell me how long the match was and everything, because it seemed like that match went on for a long time. I felt like I was watching a Rocky movie. Like it was just going on for a long time. And then last but not least, another good match that I saw too was AEW Trios Champion, the Elite versus AR Fox and Top Flight. Man, I don't know much about AR Fox and Top Flight, but man, them young boys got the juice.
Yeah,
they was, man. I mean, again, it always gets me excited. So I always like to share my perspective with AEW because I really just don't get enough time. There's so much wrestling to watch, so I go what I know. But man, I don't mind ever taking a chance on AEW. So I say that to anybody who doesn't really watch AEW. Take an opportunity to watch them. Trust me, it's not as bad as Michael says it is. It really isn't at all. They do some things a little ass backwards, but man, it's like ass backwards. But we went to a house party and the cave didn't get there for another 2 hours, but the party was popping and it was cool. AEW style.
All right, man. No doubt. We're going to get out of this podcast because we got to get ready to record our 3 count. If you're watching us live now, thank you for hanging out with us. Shout out to the Rob Noxious podcast that was hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate it. And feel free every Sunday. We're on 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do our wrestling talk, and then we go right into 3 count. So for those who are watching, we're going to end this show and get ready for 3 count. For those who listening on the podcast, we're available on every platform you can almost think of. So if you like Apple, if you like Spotify, if you are an Amazon podcast listener, or there's just tons of them. Just look us up. More likely, we are there. Just put in Vegas BadBoyz with a Z, and we should pop up. So with that, we'll see you back next week. We should have the whole gang back, and then we'll do it all over again. All right. So until then, that's our wrestling talk. Take care. See you later. Peace out.